everybody to the channel. Vince McShan with you here, and this is the first of the 2K22 lifespan for us doing a program that we did in the past, and it's called Inside the Creator Studio. And as promised, our first guest is one of the biggest names, if not the biggest name right now in the creation world. We've got Dre41Gaming with us here. Thank you so much for taking the time.
What's up, man? Appreciate you out having me on. Definitely appreciate that. You know, definitely a good look.
Now, when I mentioned the biggest, let's talk about this. We're only, maybe 6 weeks into this game, and I'm going to end up missing some. But so far, he's got Danhausen, Britt Baker, Tay Conti, FTR, Scorpio Sky, Kurt Angle, I got to take a breath, Adam Page, don't go out on me here, my notes, CM Punk, Tessa Blanchard, Deonna Purrazzo, MJF, Cody, Matt Cardoza, and an amazing, we're going to talk about that. I can't tell you how much I love that Matt Cardoza. His wife Chelsea, Thunder Rosa, Darby, and not just Sting, but the #1 Sting in all of creation, the entire creation suite. It's the #1, and it's not even a close second. The closest second is like 46,000 votes away. So the odds are very strong that you're going to finish when this whole game is said and done a year or two from now, whatever it is, with the #1 downloaded cause. So for that, I say congratulations to you.
As long as it's not Thanos, like it was on the last game for Xbox.
Is that what it was?
Actual wrestling.
Wow. Now, what I've been surprised about with this thing is the fact that Sting is #1. #2 is Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
You don't see, for the first time in 4 or 5 years now, CM Punk in the top 2 or 3.
Facts. That's odd to me. Here's the funny thing. I never thought Sting would be #1 because Sting wasn't even my first creation. So it was just like, my first creation was Jade Cargill, and I think the second one was Danhausen. And I was like, I don't know if Jade's going to be #1, but she's probably going to be like up there probably. But then I was like, oh, let me make Sting because he's probably easier to make. And I was just like, how the hell does Sting get this many down? Sting? Like, out of everybody I've made, Sting is it's strange to me, but.
And you never know. My best, this is the first year where I'm not actually creating much of anything. I did a Taz for AEW where he's in the manager type gear and the announcer gear, but that's pretty much it. But in the past, 18 and 19, the ones that I did that did the best for me, they didn't make it in the top page or anything, but they did well. It was Billy Kidman. Go figure. I mean, again, I wouldn't have thought that was either.
Yeah, the community always surprises you year after year on what they deem as a top pick. It's very strange. I mean, the stock market is more stable than community creations at this point. You can never tell what people are interested in downloading.
It is crazy, no doubt about it. And the Sting thing, I get, because he had the comeback and all that, but CM Punk had a pretty good comeback, too.
I would think that CM Punk would be #1 because, I mean, don't get me wrong, Sting is a legend, but currently CM Punk is having way more matches. He's in a storyline. I mean, Sting is, peripheral to, Darby Allin, but it's like, it's so strange. It's very strange.
It is very strange indeed, and it's hard to predict, like you said, because here's CM Punk, who was the most popular all these years that he's out of wrestling. The year he comes back, he's not the. Now, I also tell myself, well, there's a lot of people making a lot of CM Punks, therefore it dilutes the market a little bit. But they also made a lot of Stings, and they seem to be gravitating to one a lot more than the others, and I think that's justifiable.
Yeah, it's me and Jenna, Jena.
Yep.
Me and him are right there with the Stings. He does throughout all the eras. And shout outs to Jenna. I can't do that. Like, I got too much other stuff I got to make. I can't stick with one wrestler and make a bunch of them. I wish I could, but I can't.
Yeah, you're kind of like me in that aspect. I need variety in my life. Oh, let me ask you a question here. What is your background in art in general? It seems like you have a really strong digital background.
Strangely enough, yes. Which wasn't. I'm surprised I do, to be completely honest. I come from the days of pencil and paper, honestly, and because I don't know if you can tell, but I'm in my mid-30s, so I've been doing this for since community creation's been out. But even before that, I started drawing when I was 5, painting and sculpting when I was 13, 14, got into Adobe Photoshop when I was 14. And then from there, it was just learning as I go. I see something and just, I mean, figure out a way how to do it. I mean, it's there's no particular schooling. I mean, visual art in high school, a little bit in college, nothing to what I would use on a regular basis. But I mean, literally, it's just learning as I go.
I always figured, for me, when I was doing creations, the thing that helped me is I did a lot of art in high school, like advanced levels of art in high school. I didn't go to college, so therefore I didn't pursue it. But one of the things I always liked a lot was sculpting.
Yes.
And I feel like
Yes,
that
that's
really
what it's
helps
fun.
with this game.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I was almost wondering.
Definitely when it's morphing. Yeah.
Yes. And I was kind of wondering if you maybe had something like that also in your background.
Yes. Some sculpting, carving, wood carving. I did a little bit with chicken fencing and mache, a little bit of that, paper mache. It was fun but painful because I cut my hands a lot with the chicken fencing to get the body sculpting and the face and like the intricate details. You really got to bend the wire and really manipulate it to get the shapes that you want, because with chicken fencing, it's not like regular metals where I don't even know what kind of metal they use, but it's you can bend it, but sometimes you got to bend it a lot harder for it to stay the way it is. And it's rough on your hands, especially the edges. So that was fun. But yeah, majority of it was wood carving and a chicken fencing. What I used to do a lot of my sculpting.
So then doing this stuff is a lot easier on the body then.
Oh, well, you know what? Here's the funny thing. Since I've been drawing for so long, my hands get numb sometimes. I guess it's because I'm getting old. I don't know.
You got a ways to go before you're old. You're in your 30s. You're worrying about it. Trust me, if somebody in his 50s, trust me, it gets worse.
But it's like I got to stop and it's like, all right, let me calm down a little bit because I'm going a little bit too hard. Let me just relax. So yeah, like that. And even just drawing with a pen, just the numbness in the hands, and it's like, all right, let me stop and rest my hands a bit.
Yeah. People don't think about these little things, but when you do it all the time, even gaming, I mean, people that game a lot, they carpal tunnel, and you do get that little thing going on with the wrists and stuff. So it's a real thing.
Yes.
Out of all the creation suites that we've had, whether it was THQ, whether it's been 2K, which one is this your favorite one at this point in time? Do you think this is the one that allows you to be the most creative?
This comes in third place.
Wow.
And I only say that because we got unlimited amount of uploads, because their upload option in here is broken. Like, it doesn't even record how many uploads you do. So you can literally upload as much as you want on one gamer tag, which is great.
Yes.
I would say my favorite one was WWE 13 and 14.
Wow.
Those two were when, there were so, not to say that the community wasn't as good as it is now, but because we had to use Paint Tool in the game, you literally had to be really, really good in order to stand out. And I think that was what helped me become known, because I literally, when first Community Creations came out, I just sat down and like learned how to draw with the Xbox 360 controller. I said, I'm going to sit here, look at this Brock Lesnar's back tattoo, and draw it. And I'm not playing the game until I know that I got this picture right. And literally, that's what I did.
You're bringing a lot of memories back now just talking about that. I'd forgotten about all that stuff with the drawing tool, and you're right. Some of the best of the best knew how to use that better than most. And I was just messing with that a little bit. But I remember the first time I saw a Brock Lesnar that actually had the tattoo and everything, I was like, how the hell did they do that? And then, of course, once you download it, you kind of go in the back door and look at stuff. And I'm like, oh, hell no, I ain't got that kind of patience in me.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff I can work on. But, man, I don't have that level of patience. I just don't.
Yeah, it takes time, hours. People just see the finished product and it's like, oh, you pump out stuff so quickly, but people don't realize, it's a balancing act. And a lot of people don't get that. It's the 40-hour-a-week job.
Yeah.
The free time, go to the movies, go out to eat, whatever the case is. And it's like you got to take this 2 hours to bang out this one call.
If
but
you're
people
lucky.
don't realize, yeah, because it's like you got to find reference photos, then you got to draw them, you got to Photoshop the face, make sure it's clear, you got to look up move sets. It's so much work that goes into it. People just see the finished product and say, "Oh, you bang them out so fast," but they don't know that I'm holding on to these calls for like 2 weeks before I even release them. I mean, I live streamed just how to start like the bare minimum on a call, and it took 2 hours.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's one of the reasons why this year I decided I wasn't going to do much of that. I was going to focus more on the game itself. Now I'm kind of thankful because the way it's been crashing on me, I don't know what I would have lost. And it would have been much, at least now, everything I lost was other people's stuff, and I just re-download it. But even that is time consuming. I mean, I've spent the last 2 days, a big chunk of those days, just trying to put a season back together again from scratch. So imagine actually building them all. So...
yeah, and then actually that was happening to me too in the beginning, where the game would just crash, and I'm just like, oh my god, I just lost all everything I was just doing, like in call mode. And then I just started saving every 5 minutes. I would do an update to a call, save, then go back in, and literally I started doing that until they did the update, and then it wouldn't crash anymore.
The update. The update. Nothing scares me more. When they were announcing the 109 was coming, I was telling people on the stream, I says, guys, don't worry about what it fixes. Worry about what it breaks that's already working. Because that's the way it works. Every year, same story with them. I don't know what it is.
I see, here's the thing, because I tried to work with them a couple of years ago. Well, back in 2018, they actually sent me 2K19 for free, because they sent me and a couple of other creators an email talking about, what do we want in call mode, things like that, what can make it better. They didn't do none of it, of course, but
surprise.
Yeah, I just don't. I think they value the YouTubers who have a large following of subscribers. I think they value their opinion more than just the people who create on the game. But I feel like if you're a creator, a content creator, not just a YouTuber, and I say that as a YouTuber as well, but the numbers of downloads that a creator gets means something. You know 100%. What I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's important to understand, like, well, this person must understand the mode more than the average person because they're utilizing it more. Look at the downloads and see. And it's not just me, it's a bunch of other people. It's Iconic, it's Defract, it's a ton of people who are, making these great creations that 2K don't listen to. I don't know why.
Well, they know they're going to get our money, I guess, is probably the main reason at the end of the day. And by the way,
Right.
They are never giving me anything for free if they watch my channel because I am brutal to them. And it's earned. I mean, no, I might be a little more brutal. I'm not sure, but I do it in the sense that I know I ain't getting nothing out of them, and I wouldn't want it anyway because I would feel there was one channel, I'm not going to mention it, where they got a customized edition of the game with their logo in the inset and all that, and their own character with a 99 rating and all that. More power to you, man. I'm not going to knock anyone for it, but if I got all that, then I'm going to feel somewhat obligated to, at the very least, not tell the whole truth. And I don't want to do that. I mean, and it's hard to hide this one anyway. But I noticed that channel hasn't really been very negative either. So,
yeah, you find I mean, it's tough to get like a YouTuber who does wrestling games who is real, and that's kind of what I pride myself on, because it's like, even though they gave me the game for free, and I shouted them out for giving it to me for free, but I have sent them DMs. Hey, listen, something's wrong here. I said it in live streams. I've said it during recordings. This is wrong. That's wrong. I mean, it's because it's not like I want it to be bad. I gained nothing from spending money on a bad game.
Yeah, dropped $120. I want a good game. That's what I paid for.
Exactly. Like, I gave them $120 for free the last wrestling game that they put out. I didn't play it. I played my career, and that was it. I never played anything else.
Wow. And
it was the DLC could have been something fun, but the game was so broken, I didn't want to deal with the controls. And I ain't gonna talk about the controls in this one. They're a bit better, but I I don't know. It's strange how when they took things over, it's just they went a completely different direction. It's very odd, very odd.
Indeed. All right, so let me ask you this then. You've been doing this for a while. How long have you been a
Mm.
wrestling fan? When did you find wrestling?
It's strange because I remember drawing. It had to have been New Generation era. Because I remember first drawing 1, 2, 3 Kid, Bret Hart, Undertaker, and Hulk Hogan when I was a kid. And I don't even remember where I saw them at. I just, off of memory as a kid, I just drew them. And it wasn't even nothing great. I'm pretty sure it wasn't great drawing. But had to have been 93, 94 Monday Night Raw when it was only an hour. The first wrestling match I could remember, boy, that's going way back. Had to have been like 1, 2, 3 Kid
Wow,
versus
really?
somebody. I'm
Maybe
not sure who.
maybe the big win over Razor.
Oh no, it definitely wasn't that match. No, it definitely wasn't that match. It was on the Monday Night Raw, but it wasn't on that one. They were definitely wasn't that. That was in the Manhattan Center, right?
Yep.
Yeah, no, definitely wasn't on one of those episodes. But yeah, probably 1, 2, 3 Kid was the first wrestler I remember.
Wow. Okay, there you go. Everybody's got a first that they remember. I
Yeah.
just recently took my girlfriend to see AEW. She's never been to wrestling at all, and she's kind of into Sammy Guevara there. She liked watching him wrestle, and we were too far away for her to know that he's good looking or better looking than me, so I don't say nothing about it.
Wow. That's what is that? Was that your first wrestling show you ever went to, or way before that?
Oh no, yeah, way before. My first match ever on TV, I was about 8 years old. My uncle was staying over, and he turned it on a Saturday morning, and I saw Mr. Fuji and Saito defeat Rick Martel and Tony Garea for the tag team titles when Mr. Fuji threw salt in the eyes of Martel to get the dirty pin. And I said something, I don't remember what it was, but 8-year-olds aren't supposed to say it. So my mother told me I wasn't going to watch wrestling anymore. And of course, next Saturday I was parked in front of the TV watching it, and every day since, pretty much that was what launched it all for me.
Oh, okay. All right.
So yeah,
It took me a while before I went to a wrestling show. I was probably like early 20s. And it was a house show for Stand Up for WWE. That was the first wrestling show that I went to. I think like something on social media where people were against WWE or something, or saying something negative about them, and they had like a house show in Connecticut. I think it was like something for Linda, because she was like trying to run for office or some nonsense.
Well, she ran for office, and then she was part of Trump's cabinet, so it could have been any of that stuff in there. But
it was like Stand Up for WWE, and I went to that show. Or maybe it was before, but it was something where Triple H made his return to wrestling, and he wrestled Alberto Del Rio. That shows where WWE was at that time.
Yeah, my first show was a live show anyway. My dad was a teacher at a school in Bellport, Long Island, and they were having it there in the high school gym. And this is back when Tito Santana was the Intercontinental Champion, fighting it out with Greg the Hammer Valentine over that strap. And that was the main event. Santana and Valentine, and Rocky Johnson was there. Rocky Maivia was there as well, but he was about 6,
Wow.
5 or 6 years old.
Remember when the Intercontinental title meant something?
It meant a lot. I mean, that was the belt that you knew that was going to be the match of the night. You might see Hogan or Bruno or whatever it was going to be, but at the end of the day, the match that was going to be great to watch was going to be Santana Valentine. That was still, I tell everybody, that's the best feud of all time in wrestling, was Santana and Valentine over that strap. It was such a great story. It was over a year-long great arc, and what a perfect finish. You couldn't have scripted it better than that. So if you're not familiar with the whole run of things, somewhere on YouTube there must be a capsule of the entire thing. And that finish is just absolutely the best of the best. And I won't spoil it for you, even though you probably know who won at the end of the day. So, so far as we're talking about old matches now, what about dream matches? If you had to book one dream match and there was nothing that would stop you from booking, I mean, timeline doesn't matter, which group they belong to doesn't matter, any of that stuff. Just 2 guys or 2 tag teams that you want to see go at it. What would it be?
Oh, that's an easy one. These two, I never wrestled in the ring together, and I consider them both in the same status in professional wrestling. The Great Muta and Undertaker. I would love
Wow.
to see those two in a program because, I mean, you can get so many different evolutions of characters that could have changed, Ministry Undertaker to American Badass Undertaker to make Muda with the face paint turn into the Dark Muda. Like I mean, and it doesn't even, they don't even have to do big moves. Just the
Yeah.
characters themselves have evolved and stayed with the times through so many years. They're beyond legend status to me. And I would have loved to see them have a match against one another.
That would have been something, but I wouldn't even thought that way. But man, that's really crossing the divide there, and especially when Muda went to that later days thing where he had that mask contraption on his head and all that. That would have been pretty compatible with an Undertaker gimmick. And imagine the Mania match they could have had with that one.
Yo, it would have been only if Vince doesn't book it. Anybody else can book it, just don't let Vince.
Don't let him anywhere near the book.
Yeah, don't let him be the pencil, please. Just let Undertaker and Muda figure it out.
That's it, and they would.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got me in my head thinking, what would that look like? Oh, there's something to keep you up at night.
All right.
This is gonna be a tough one for you because it's like asking you to choose from amongst your kids. But out of all the creations you've made, is there one that just like if they all had to get deleted somehow, but you were able to save one? Which one are you gonna save?
On this game?
Any.
On 22?
Any.
Oh crap.
All right, I'll tell you what, we'll do 22 by itself, but then we're gonna go with all.
Okay. The one that I would want to keep more than any other one on 22, I didn't make them yet. But it would be Hayabusa. Hayabusa would be the one that I would keep. I'm really into Japanese wrestling. Like I have a Japanese PlayStation 2 and multiple Japanese wrestling games.
Wow.
So I've learned to kinda read Japanese and play the games and navigate through the menus from memory. I have multiple videos on my channel where I go through these wrestling games and play them through. So yeah, Hayabusa is, man, like I can't wait to make him for this game because they have so many of his moves, kicks, high flying abilities. Hayabusa would be the one that I would keep because he does it all. He does the power moves. He does the Uranagi, rock bottom. You know what I'm saying? The Falcon Arrow. He could go high flying. He can do, the Phoenix Splash. So it's just like he has an amalgamation of great moves. So I would keep him over everybody else.
Wow. Well, there you have that. Your thoughts about Forbidden Door?
Oh. Now, with this pay-per-view, that I have to get it.
Sounds like
it. CM Punk and Kenta, I don't care whatever feud they're in right now, they got to go at it. Point blank, it has to happen.
You're the second person that said that.
Throwing Danhausen too. It could just be 3 people who do the GTS. That one. Okada and Hangman. I don't know if that one would be worth it. Hangman has a certain style that I don't think meshes well with everyone. Not to say that he's not a good wrestler, because he is, but I feel like even though he's world champion, I don't see it yet. I don't. Maybe that's just me, but that match was probably the biggest one for me is CM Punk and Kenta, because I was so hyped when Kenta got signed. I was like, oh my god, he's going to WWE. Like, this is amazing. I don't even care if he's in NXT.
Right.
I just want to see him, like, because you watch those old Noah, shows with him on it, and he's killing it, and they did nothing with him. So it's just like I would love to see that match. That would probably be the biggest one, and anything with Minoru Suzuki, anything, yeah.
So
he could wrestle. He could wrestle a brick wall, and I would be fine with it as long as he chops it, laughs, things of that nature.
You're all in on the pay-per-view then.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I kind of figured that this had to be the big announcement. I mean, what other than them saying Ring of Honor got a television deal
or streaming service?
That too.
That's the one I'm really wanting to hear about the most because I'm not happy with the network right now at all. Just Peacock ruined it.
They did. It's not as good as it used to be. But yeah, I think AEW has a better shot at a streaming platform now since they got Ring of Honor,
Yeah,
because it's a huge library.
sure is.
I think just having AEW on it would be cool, but you'll run out of stuff really fast. You
Right.
know, with a company that's been around for 3 years. You know,
Right.
like
No.
what can you really have on?
And didn't they pick up somebody else's? Not a major name, but didn't they pick up like a Japanese video library or
I think
something?
it was that old OWE.
Something
I
like that.
think.
I hadn't even
But
heard of
that
it.
was years ago, and they never even did nothing with them.
Eh.
They sent SCU over there one time and had a match, and that was it.
But did they have their video library though?
I know they were in a partnership. I
Okay.
know they were in a business partnership early, and that's when they brought in I can't even remember his name. I feel so horrible. They brought in a couple of guys from China, and
We're not
they had
talking
a
about
couple
the
of
wrestler,
matches.
by the way.
Yeah, not the wrestler, but they brought in a couple of guys from China and Japan, and had a couple of matches. And I know they sent over SCU, and that was it. And then the pandemic happened, and you never heard nothing from it again.
That's the way it works sometimes, isn't it?
Right.
So tell us about your channel. For the people that have not seen your channel, which I highly recommend now that you do that, go over to Dre41Gaming. I'll put a link in the description down below so you can find him easily. But tell everybody what you kind of do. Like with my thing, I kind of reenact wrestling, put on my own promotions with real live wrestlers and call the play-by-play. Your situation is a little bit different.
All right. So with mine initial, oh boy, because I started mine back in 2008 with a handheld camera, a digital camera, and a computer monitor. So the first initial videos were really bad quality, very bad quality. Then I got back into it basically because I got a laptop. One of my boys was just like, "Yo, you should, you create all these wrestlers, showcase them yourself," because other people would make YouTube videos showcasing my stuff. And at the time, I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, they getting paid to like
Show
make
my
videos
stuff.
and stuff." Yeah, and I'm just like, wait a minute, I got to take that from them. I might as well just showcase my own stuff. So literally, that was the initial plan for my channel, was just to showcase my cause, and that was it, which was kind of dumb, but I'll start it back up, and this was 2016. So I stopped for years. So I literally started 2008, stopped up until for 8 or 7 years, until I got a laptop, and then it was playing, just the WWE games or whatever was on my 360 at the time, or Xbox One came out at 20. Yeah, Xbox One. So then it was just like, all right, I need to expand my channel because I just want to have a go-to channel for wrestling games. I just don't want it to be WWE games, and that's when I really got into, all right, let me start buying some of the games I had when I was a kid and do playthroughs of those, because I enjoy watching that on YouTube too. So I was like, wait a minute, if I enjoy watching it, why don't I just make them? People will enjoy watching mine, and actually give like commentary, because some of these videos there would be no commentary. King of Colosseum, Wrestle Kingdom games, any of the Japanese games was recorded by H Boss, and he never had commentary. So I'm just like, let me talk about it. Let me explain the game, the controls, the story mode, or how to unlock people, so people have something to reference to. And that actually helps too, because I still get views and comments on older videos, which is a great thing. So it literally went from showcasing my cause to showcasing as many different wrestling games as I can get my hands on.
Yep. And a lot of that sounds very familiar to me because it was similar. I started out as a fluke thing. It was just an exercise in editing. I was doing a lot of editing because I was coaching basketball at the time, and I would put highlight reels together and also things for the players to see themselves and see what they needed to work on, things like that. And I'd done no editing. Always been a big movie fan and things like that. Wanted to learn about it, so I got a MacBook, taught myself. And I used some old, I don't even remember which game it would have been. It was way back when there was a cut scene where like Booker T was on the phone in the back garage area and Shane McMahon's on the phone. Next thing you know, a car comes in and tries to run him down or something like that. But there was no story modes.
12 or 13.
Yeah, it's way back. But there was no story modes or anything like that. And I just cut all this stuff up and kind of put it into a story mode where the TNA was invading the WWE, and it was literally a one-shot deal. It was just going to be a 10-minute video. I thought I was going to get laughed out of the place, and that was it. And I just kept getting comments about what's next, what are you going to do? And I'm like, what, they actually like this crap?
It happens, yeah.
So back then it was so much harder than it is now, though, because first you had to play the game out, then you had to import all. There was no streaming, there was no live streaming, so you had to import all the video into your MacBook. That was however long the card was. Then you edit it up a little bit. Then you do the voiceovers on top of that. So a 1-hour game was 8 hours to produce before it ever went out to YouTube, at least. So when I look at my old stuff and I shake my head, it's like, my God, how much time did I spend doing that? And now it's so much easier. Now. Yeah, it's so much easier now. Pretty much hit play and let it go, and then just talk over it while it's happening. And streaming has made it much easier for me to do a lot more of this than I ever would have done. So
right. That is true.
Well, the other thing that they would always end the program with when they had inside the actor's studio was a question I always found intriguing. And he said to every one of the celebrities that was on there, if God does exist, what do you hope he says to you when you get to the pearly gates?
Ooh.
That's deep.
You did a good job. Here's a gold star.
There you go. You got your gold star. You did do a good job. You do a good job all the time. Out the gate, man, this guy just keeps banging them out. And like I said, I ran down a list of them, and I know I left people off that list. Just incredible work. I was talking about the Matt Cardona. I was looking at that Pabst outfit, and I was like, how long did that take him just to get all the logos? Forget the rest. And everything is so spot on clean.
Searching. So, like, I tell people, call creators are creepy people.
You kind of have to be a stalker, you know?
Just a tad bit, you know? So.
But look at the end results. That's what really matters at the end of the day. Is it really creepy if you're going to have something great like that come out of it?
The creepiness is acceptable when you put out some good work.
I agree 100%. Well, thank you so much for taking time, because I know you're working on 3 things right now, aren't you? You want to spill the beans?
I literally have my game on right now.
You want to tell everybody what you're working on?
Oh, shoot. Right now I'm finishing touches to Bobby Fish. An updated Pentagon Black. I'm going to go over the Young Bucks again. Hopefully get their full attire done. Also, we haven't spoken about this. I also work for Virtual Basement and helping with the wrestling code.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned earlier that I thought you had a little bit more than just a rudimentary knowledge of this world.
Well, I learn as I go.
So what are you doing with Virtual Basement, and when the hell's the game coming out?
Next year. The game's coming out next year.
Okay.
I am continuously working on it, getting attires done. Oh, another thing I just want to say here. If people are asking me to make certain people, and I say I can't, there's a reason why. The textures that I make for the wrestling code, I am not going to put on WWE 2K22. I'm just not. I can't. I'm contracted with them. So whatever I make for the game, I am not going to share with anybody else, because it's a business partnership, and I can't do that. So.
No, that's absolutely understandable. So you're making the textures as in the faces or the attire or everything? The
attire, tattoos, arena logos, signs, everything. I mean, I've also been helping with merchandising with individual wrestlers. I also got in contact with the RVD CBD company, doing a little bit of work with them last year. And I'm doing a lot, helping with move sets, a lot of stuff. It's not just the textures, it's, character designs, attire choices, all that stuff.
That's an insane schedule.
It is. It literally, and once again, I gotta balance this with a 40-hour-a-week job, and then if I gotta go on mocap trips, I do that.
Wow.
And
that's got to be cool though.
You know what? I'll say this. When your regular life is a 9 to 5 office job, working from home, whatever you do, and then you go into the world of wrestling and you're around wrestlers who live a completely different life. It is very eye-opening from the stories. Like, I mean,
The
I'm
stories.
chilling over Crowbar's house, eating hot dogs and burgers with pizza, while Anthony Green is throwing working punches at me. like, like this, it's so crazy. And then, like, Crowbar is going over old matches and matches with Sabu and the psychology of it, just with me. Like, we're just sitting here, like, talking about, and it's like I'm like a 10-year-old kid, like,
I'll
getting
bet.
to see wrestling up close that I didn't get to see when I was younger. And it's so crazy, like, from talking with Enzo, like, I have these wrestlers' phone numbers. Like, there's times where I've spoken to people over the phone for 2 hours just about wrestling, life, a lot of things. And it's weird because it's like you grow up as a fan, and it's like, to you, it's like a shroud that's over it. You can only get but so far. And
Right.
now it's opened up to me because of me working on this game, and it's crazy. It's really crazy, but it's fun. It's really fun.
That is exactly the way I feel about it. I was managing a place when COVID started, or shortly after that anyway. I had to switch roles from the job I had at Disney and go out to Daytona, and I was managing an RV park, and one of our residents, as it turns out, was ODB. So got to know her a bit. We'd talk shop and stuff like that. One day I was taking her on the golf cart because there was a pretty good distance between parts of the park, and she saw her walking by one day to give her a ride. I said, by the way, I kind of know your career and all that. And she's just like, oh. And I was like, no, I'm cool with it. I think it's fun. It's good. I guess she's just figuring that somebody must think she's crazy for all that antics that she did.
Oh, no, ODB was one of my favorites in early TNA. She's actually going to be in the wrestling code too.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I enjoyed, we had some really good conversations. Same as you're mentioning here, talk about matches and stuff like that. And then Impact will be coming to where I'm working at now in another like 3 weeks.
Oh, okay.
So they got 2 days, I'm guessing, TV taping if they're there for 2 days. So hopefully get to say hi to at least a couple of them. And it's always a good time. Always a good time. This was a good time. So
appreciate it. I mean, like, I enjoyed this.
Me too. And we'll do it again. I just give everybody a little chance to get more stuff out there to talk about. And hopefully the wrestling world will give us, well, the wrestling world will always give us something else to talk about.
Hey, and once we have more stuff for the wrestling code, I'll definitely come back on and
let's
share what we got.
Yeah, I know that those things usually stay under wraps until they say it's okay, but you let me know when it's okay, and we'll do this again for sure.
Definitely.
Okay, well, thanks again for being, and again, my guest, 41, or I beg your pardon, Dre41Gaming, and the link will be down below so you guys can check him out. You've already checked out his work. Now check out the videos that go with it. All right. Thank you again, my friend. I appreciate you being here so much. You have a great day.
Appreciate it.
Take care, buddy. We've done this once before, and that was with a guy you might remember by the name of Tongue List. He's another creator.
Yes.
He put a lot of really good stuff out there. He hasn't bought this game yet, and I keep telling him he's a smart one. Wait till it comes down in price because it ain't ready yet. It's not done baking.
True. Yeah, because I ran into a couple of issues.
I'll have no doubt about it, man. I think everybody has that I've talked to, and I know I have been dealing with everything. It crashed my I'm starting over from scratch.
What?
Yeah, man. For the last 2 days, I am rebuilding the roster, the shows. I haven't even. The last step now is to put the tag teams back together again. It wiped me out completely with 109 patch. So, corrupted this, corrupted that, and the only thing I had to save me was I had a backup thumb drive from like 5th day in, and if I hadn't saved that, I would have had to replay the Rey Mysterio mode all over again to unlock stuff.
Damn.
So luckily I had that.
It's funny. All this stuff is unlocked for me, and I didn't even play through it.
Lucky you.
I didn't even play through it.
Lucky you.
This game is so wonky. Literally, if you have a manager come out with you, the manager disappears during the entrance.
I haven't seen that happen yet.
On stage, I'm not like I just did a live stream where I was just like, guys, pay attention to the manager behind me. He will disappear on the stage, and he did. Yeah.
Damn. Now, have you deleted the game and reinstalled it at all?
No.
That fixes a lot of problems. The problem is I'm doing it at least twice a week.
Yeah, I'm all set with that. I'm just at the point now where I just expect the game to do what the game does. I'm not even no longer worried about updates, just whatever. I got old games I can play. I got old wrestling games, so I just play those.
Well, it's sad that 2K19 is so much better than this. No, maybe not maybe not visually, but in every other way.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, under the engine is definitely a better working game. And it's funny because I was talking to Brian Williams. He used to be the lead developer. The developing supervisor for the 2K games, and he told me it's just like when 2K decided to run the game themselves. Imagine you moving into somebody's house that's been there for 20 years. They know where everything is, and you don't. And now you got to figure out where the pots, the pans, knives, forks, where everything goes, and they don't even tell you. They just up and leave.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, so, everything's a learning curve, I guess.
All right. Definitely.
All right. Well, let me get this thing kicked off here real quick.